Heaven, written by Emanuel Swedenborg, and it's a key tenet of Christian New Church theology that the idea, if we're going to live a truly deep, rich, meaningful Christian life, we have to move out of our heads. We cannot just be in our heads all the time. And it's interesting because so much of theology is fun, and it's a theology, like theology, that idea of God logic, theo means God. It's like talking about how creation works, talking about some of the finer points of it, is very appealing. And sometimes you'll hear that in common reference in my line of work. They'll talk about people argue over how many angels fit on the head of a pin. That was a debate back in the Middle Ages. And it's easy to kind of get carried away with that. And I want to, share with you a passage that talks about that, the idea that the thoughts save no one, and talk about how we might be able to see it in a way that's light. Because obviously, like, thinking about theology, thinking about God, thinking about spirituality is a very good thing. I mean, that's what we kind of do in 10 minutes of morning calm. And the most important thing is actually what you do, not at 8:30, but what you do at 8:40. What is the life that you live, or all of us live, as a result of the things that we learn and think about and contemplate and mull over? Because action is really where everything should be pointed towards. So let's take a look. It's a fascinating passage. This is again from the book Secrets of Heaven, 22:28. It is not simply a way of thinking or an acknowledgement of a tenet, and a tenet is a key religious principle or spiritual principle, or a comprehensive knowledge of the theology. In other words, you know everything there is to know about the theology. No one can be saved by any of these because it cannot take root in anything deeper than thought. Thought saves no one. It is the life we have acquired, that's the key part, the life we have acquired for ourselves and the world by means of religious knowledge, again putting religious knowledge in its place, that saves us. This life remains, but anything that does not harmonize with our life fades away until it disappears. In heaven, people associate with each other on the basis of the way they have lived, never on the basis of thought disconnected from life. Boy, that is so good. There's just so much I could say about that. It's important for us to remember, friends, that life cannot just be in head space. I think probably many of us know that when we get caught too much in our head, it creates what is commonly known as paralysis by analysis. We just kind of spin it over way too much. And that's a human proclivity. I don't think it comes from necessarily a good place. I think some of the time it can come from fear or worry or concern. But we want to be able to do actions. And the difference I was thinking about this morning, and I brought this up with somebody in a conversation yesterday, is the idea that there's the menu and the meal. And I look at theology kind of like as reading the menu, and that's fun to do. It's interesting. It's interesting looking at how they cook things, But really, the meal is what it's all about. It's all about how do we reach out there and look at things and actually do things that really, really does matter. And the idea of heaven and salvation in the new church is based on that very idea, that it's really about what you do, that angels do not, when we die, when we pass over into the next life, there's not going to be an angel there with a clipboard, who's going down and writing, making sure that we've checked all the boxes and we know all the right things. That's just not true. It's going to be much more about the life we live. That's a core Christian New Church tenet, that salvation is about the life we live, not necessarily about the tenets that we believe. Now, does that mean that the tenets aren't important, that religious knowledge is not important? Well, obviously it's really important. Knowledge really matters. But knowledge should help us to start the journey, but it's never the end of the journey in and of itself. So we really do need to act. And today, friends, like it's a simple lesson. Just get out of your head, get out of your head and go and figure out something to do. And if you find yourself too spinning around, really get on it about trying to do something. I know that today we have a wonderful congregant, Walt, who organizes trips down to St. Francis Inn. We're doing that this afternoon as part of New Church Live. And I know the way that's going to go. It goes the way these things always go. I get in my head about time and how I'm going to get this done, how I'm going to get that done, I get a little anxious about that because the days are busy. And then we'll head down at 3:00. We'll meet in the parking lot. We'll hop in a car. We'll go down. We'll have a nice visit with the people on the way down, other congregants, and then we'll serve. And what happens in that service is that the action gets going so fast because St. Francis Inn is a very busy place that the thoughts, all that stuff, it just goes. It just goes. And that's why I think it's such a consistently fulfilling thing to do, because the thought goes, and what we're left with is the action, and what we're left with is the love, and what we're left with is the service. And that's what God created you to be, and that's how he created you to act. And it doesn't always have to be big things like going down to the city. Could be texting a friend, could be visiting a friend who's ill, could be we have a number of things coming up at New Church Library. You can adopt families for the holidays, 2 organizations that we work with. You can do that. All kinds of things like that, friends. And that's kind of our job, is to do that. So closing, it's not like a big overly profound thought per se. It's about like getting beyond those thoughts and just remembering thoughts save no one. Thoughts don't heal. Don't just be in your head. Figure out a way to be out there into the world doing the work that is yours to do today. So that's the thought, friends. I hope that makes sense. And what we're going to do now is we're going to shift gears. And when we shift gears here, what we do is we ring the bell, we get ourselves calmed down a little bit. And then what we do is we have a little prayer, a little blessing, and then we say hi to folks on Facebook. So with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath. And the bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's flip over on here to Facebook. And again, I hope everyone is having a wonderful day today. All right, let's take a little look. Sorry, it's taking a little while to load here. Linda, good morning to you, and I hope you're doing well, my friend. Now let's flip on over onto this page. All right, just give me a second to let it load here. All right. And Marcus over on the other page. Marcus, good morning to you. So friends, just God bless. Have a great, wonderful day. Try not to be too much in your head and try to get out there.